Well, I have to do this again because apparently my Yeti wasn't wanting to work, but we'll leave it at that. How's it going, guys? Welcome to a different kind of video. Yes, remember last week I actually, I guess it would have been earlier this week, but whatever. Remember what I basically said I wanted to do a video on physical and digital content? Well, that's this video. As you could see, you probably read the title, but if you didn't, that's what this video is. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Now, when it comes to buying video games, I prefer to buy physical games when I am able to. The only time I will do digital, only times, plural I should say. Yeah, so the only times I will actually do digital would be on PC, like on Steam, or if there's digital exclusive titles on platforms, or if there's a good sale occurring, or if the game's impossible to find physical. Most games aren't like that, but there are a few. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Just look for that physical. It ended up costing more physical for some reason, and I had to get the European version because for some reason that was cheaper. But whatever, we'll leave it at that. For other gamers, especially millennials, Zoomers, not trying to target people, like I'm not trying to attack anyone, just saying younger people. So for younger gamers, digital is more convenient. You don't have to worry about losing physical games, especially if you have a system that they call Nintendo Switch. I'm sure you heard of it. I mentioned the Switch since games are much smaller. You have cartridges, kind of like on the DS, 3DS, Game Boy Advance, or even PlayStation Vita. Yeah, they're not all retro systems. I don't consider the PlayStation Vita or the 3DS retro. I don't even know if the DS would be considered retro. You might consider it retro, but anyway. DS is kind of on the line where, I don't know. Anyway, retro can mean different things to everyone. Some people might say the PS3 is retro. I wouldn't call it retro, but if you do, that's fine. Anyway, so let's continue on. They're on the device the games are on a device you were using. While cartridges are not new to video game systems, they are still used on the Switch, which is the only mainstream video game system that uses cartridges. I was going to say physical, but I meant cartridges. Yeah, because you have the PlayStation 5. You could also throw in PS4 and the Xbox One. That's last gen, but current gen, I would say Nintendo Switch cartridges. And then you have Blu-ray on the PlayStation 5. Then you also have discs on the Xbox Series X. I almost said Series S. That's digital though. I'm just used to saying both together. But yeah, let's say if you have a Switch, they will be easier to lose compared to a disc. So I can understand if someone prefers buying video games digitally over physical ones. One thing I want to really cover today is the downsides of buying digital content. This is not exclusive to just games. It could also apply to music, movies, TV shows, or digital books. We saw what happened when Nintendo silently shut down the Wii Shop channel and Nintendo DSi Shop earlier this year. I'll leave a link in the description to an article. Luckily, both storefronts did eventually return back online, but for months on end, users had no way to re-download content they had previously paid for. So, say if you had your Wii or DSi and you uninstalled something, maybe you did it by accident, or whatever the case may be. It's like, oh shit, I can't. I'm just gonna re-download this. Oh shit, I can't because it's like shut down. You can't. It was under maintenance for 4 months or however long it was. I think it was like 3 or 4 months, something like that. A long time. And then finally it came back. Now, if you actually your Wii, since the purchases are tied to your system, if your Wii or DSi quit DSi doesn't have a hard drive. I think that's flash. Anyway, but the Wii had a HDD hard disk drive. If that quit, oh, I'm just going to re-download the games. Oh shit, I can't, because yeah, it's tied to the system, so you're kind of screwed. Now I know you could call. I have a friend that he actually had. In this case, it was the 3DS. or was it? I think it was the 3DS. Yeah, it's tied to your eShop account, so you can just log in. It's not. I don't believe it's tied to the console, which is kind of a little more convenient. Yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta replace the system, but whatever. He was actually able to get Nintendo to move everything from his 3DS to the new 3DS. And yes, I'm talking about the new Nintendo 3DS. That's the one he got. That's what he told me. So they did it for him. So yeah, for the Wii or DSi, you might be able to do the same thing, but through normal means, you're just going to be screwed. If you want to try contacting Nintendo support, maybe they could help you. Maybe they could actually. I've heard. Actually, there was one other story. Don't remember where I saw this. It was on a forum site. Someone said their house burnt down. They contacted Nintendo support, see if there's any way they could, get their stuff back. And Nintendo said, hey, we'll ship you a new Wii, and we'll give you a bunch of free games with it. But normally they're not going to do that. So, with the new, when you have a Switch, you have an account, something happens to your Switch. I know I'm going way too long about this, but whatever. You'll have to get a new Switch, but hey, you won't have to buy your new games if you downloaded them. Anyway, so let's continue on. Another company doing something similar to Nintendo is Sony. I watched ReviewTechUSA a couple weeks ago. He's been doing multiple videos. I'll leave his latest video on the latest one I saw on Sony removing films from the PlayStation Store. So if you live in Austria or Germany, as many as 314 video content, including films, are being removed from the PlayStation Store. If you want to access select movies in these countries, you will sadly not be able to anymore. Even if you bought the movies, you will lose access to them. This is a big problem, and from what I'm also hearing, if you at first I was hearing if you had them downloaded, you'd be able to still access them. Now it sounds like, oh, you still have it downloaded? Oh, too bad. No, you can't have that. And I especially liked the part where he was, not Phil Spencer, Jim Carrey. Wow. I forgot his name. Who's whatever the CEO. Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan. He's the CEO of PlayStation, basically. Sony Interactive Entertainment America and Sony World. Not Sony Corporation, but their American branch, and technically could argue PlayStation is more of an American company, but it's owned by Sony Corporation in Japan. Anyway, yeah, so it's Jim Ryan going to come to your house and say, hey, we don't have the license for the physical games. I'm not doing the British accent, by the way. Can I have them back? Sure. We'll give you a $50 Olive Garden gift card. Yes, no. That was a reference to the Sonic movie. Anyway. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But we'll get more onto physical games, because there could be a problem with new physical games. I'll get on to that in a little bit. Now, I understand when buying anything digital, such as games or movies, whatever the case, you are technically buying a copy of the license to use that content. You're not buying the copyright. I get that. I'm not saying you should be able to go online and say, oh, I want to sell this, make money off of it, whatever, I want to pirate it. No, you don't have the right to do that. But this is still very anti-consumer, and it makes me worry about the future of digital distribution. Now, if this was a subscription service like Nintendo Switch Online or Xbox Game Pass, now, so far in Nintendo Switch Online, the games are going to stay on there. Nintendo seems to still be doing that. Maybe that'll change later. I don't know. I would imagine most of the games are going to stay on there. Nintendo seems like a company that's, especially with Smash Brothers, where they're able to get a lot of rights to get stuff. And you saw Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You had all these characters in there that are owned by other companies. And you had Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and then you had to get the approval from Disney. Oh, yeah, and that was actually anyway. So, not saying that games won't be removed on Nintendo Switch Online, but probably not for a long time. I'm not going to say never, but yeah, I'm not going to say ever, but probably not for a very long time if it ever happens. I mean, obviously, Nintendo's going to eventually come out with a new system. Maybe they'll come up with a way to say, hey, we're going to shut down Switch, but you'll still be able to access this on Nintendo Switch 2, whatever the case may be. Anyway, yeah, but like I was saying, subscriptions, Nintendo Switch Online, PlayStation, Xbox Game Pass. I don't know why I said PlayStation Store. I meant PlayStation Now, or PlayStation Plus, but whatever. You know, where games can be removed, with the exception of Nintendo Switch Online, right now at least. You know, you're basically renting. Same for movies, like if you're using Netflix, Hulu, whatever. You're basically renting. You're not owning, so that's a little more understandable. But if you buy content, I think companies should let that be accessible, especially if they are not going out of business. Should there be regulations? Possibly, I don't know. Maybe I'll make another video on that someday. I don't know, but I don't really want to get into that at the moment. This is not just digital content, though. When buying physical games, you often need to download updates in order to play them. So even if you have the physical version and a company goes out of business, you are SOL. You're shit out of luck. You lost your money. You're not getting those games back. Too bad. Corporations do not care. They just want money. And I really sound like a left-wing liberal there when I'm saying that. Anyway, let's get out of politics. One last thing. What about streaming games? Remember Google Stadia? Yeah, it's technically still around for now. I published an article here on WordPress on this, I guess it's been a little bit over a week ago now. By the way, once again, I'll be posting articles in the description, so if you guys want to check out my sources, you'll be able to do so, and then one of them is my own article. Google is shutting Stadia down in January 3rd, or I think it was January 4th, whatever, so the next year. Luckily, you will get refunded through the Google storefront. So I hope you didn't buy, I know you can use Stadia without the hardware, but you get some perks if you get the hardware. Anyway, if you bought the hardware through a third-party seller, do you think Google's gonna, oh yeah, we'll refund you? Now, if the third-party seller, if you want to convince them to refund your money, you're not getting your money back. But hey, if you somehow do, good. But I don't think Google's not going to. I guarantee you, Google's not going to refund you for that. But this doesn't mean other companies will refund you once a service shuts down or a company goes out of business. When they go out of business, you're probably not going to get refunded. Just be lucky Google's doing this. These are my concerns about digital games as well as physical games, and then, you know, other content, not just games, but mostly games. Let me know your thoughts on this subject. I appreciate you listening to me blabber on for, what has it been, almost 13 minutes now. This video was originally going to be like a little less than 5 minutes, but I added a bunch of stuff. So I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. If you have, leave a comment on what you think. I will see you guys later.